Hey, and welcome back to our two-part series on the Kettlebell Windmill. If you haven't watched part one yet, go watch it because we covered two versions of the half kneeling windmill and we covered key concepts that we're gonna apply to the standing windmill today. I'm gonna assume you watched part one and that you've been practicing your half kneeling windmills, so let's get into it. We're gonna start with the kickstand windmill progression. Get in a hip width stance, toes pointed forward. Raise one heel. First, we're just gonna hinge. Shift your hips back into your grounded leg. Keep this leg straight and your knee locked. Hinge back as far as you can without losing your spine position. Next, we add our spine rotation. As you hinge, slide this arm down your leg and let your upper body rotate. Take your top shoulder towards the sky and allow your chest to open to the side. Use your breath to gently increase your hinge depth and your rotation. Finally, we do it in an angled stance. Angle both feet on a 45. Like this. Your front heel should be up. Hinge and rotate. Keep your weight on your straight leg and make sure you're not bending your spine. The kickstand windmill is a great drill because it teaches us to do a single leg hip hinge while rotating our spine but not bending it. It also teaches us to keep our weight on our back leg and keep our back leg straight, keep our front knee soft, and rotate our T-spines. Let's move on to the standing windmill, no bell. We're gonna do exactly what we just did in the kickstand windmill, but we're gonna change two things. We're gonna put our front heel down and we're gonna put our working arm up. Nothing else changes. Keep most of your weight on this back leg and don't let your weight shift onto the front leg. Look up at your hand, hinge, and rotate. Trace your front leg with your down arm. Long spine, wide chest, long collarbones, shoulders are packed, core is engaged. Let's go through the details from the ground up. Your feet should be just inside shoulder width, angled to one side. You can either have both feet parallel, angled on a 45-degree angle, like this, or you can have your back foot at 45 degrees and your front foot at 30 degrees, like this. Both angles are good, so just find which stance works best for you. Most of your weight is on this back leg and your back knee is locked. Keep most of your weight off this front foot. The front knee is soft and it tracks the toe. As you hinge, push this hip of the straight leg to the side and up. Try to lift your hip off your leg as if you're trying to make space in between your pelvis and your femur. At the same time as you hinge, allow your spine to rotate. Keep a long spine. Trace your front leg with your down arm. To come back up, drive your back heel into the ground and squeeze your glute. We've learned the movement, now we just need to add a bell. So let's do it. Get the bell up safely, however you know how to do it, into the overhead lockout. You know what to do. Push your hip to the side and up. Don't think about going down. Keep a long spine. Don't let your spine bend or flex. Remember, rib to hip distance doesn't change. Keep your weight on your back foot. Don't shift your weight forward. Back knee stays locked. Front knee is soft. Keep a wide chest and long collarbones. Shoulders are anti-shrugged. Look up at the bell. Elbow is locked, core is engaged. To come up, drive your foot into the floor, squeeze your glute, and stand. Let's wrap this up by going over the 3 most common pitfalls you want to avoid when you're doing windmills. Problem number 1, trying to reach the ground at all costs. This always involves bending at the spine. When we try to reach the floor at all costs, this is when we get into trouble. Our spine bends, we transfer our weight onto the front foot. It's not pretty. The key to the windmill is don't think about going down. Instead, focus on sending your hip to the side and up while making sure your rib to hip distance doesn't change. Problem number 2, stance is too wide. Your stance should be just inside shoulder width. If your stance is too wide, it gets difficult to keep your weight on your back foot and your weight starts to shift onto your front foot, which we don't want. Problem number 3, unraveling and spiraling out of the hinge. Don't unravel and spiral out of the hinge like this. The windmill is a linear movement. When you're doing them, pretend you're between 2 panes of glass, one pane in front of you and one behind you. Pry against your front leg with your down arm, making sure the front knee tracks the toe. Don't let yourself spiral out of it. That wraps up our 2-part windmill series. By the way, all of the drills and tips in these windmill tutorials came straight out of the StrongFirst SFG2 manual. In fact, everything I teach about kettlebells comes from the StrongFirst system because I truly believe in it. If this was helpful and you want to see more kettlebell skill videos, hit that like and subscribe button. Happy windmilling!